It is Monday. It's May 2nd. It's my mom's birthday. Happy birthday. If by chance you ever get around to watching this. Slightly different mindset, situation, perception, perspective today than last week, and I'd indicated last week that I felt like I was in a downturn, cycling down away from that heightened or that elevated sense of being in tune, in touch with myself, the world around, and a very powerful situation. And talked a little bit about the fear associated with cycling back out of that, and all that stuff I talked about last week. So we had a good weekend. We got paid on Friday, and we had I'm not even sure what I want to talk about today. I have a lot of different things going on in different windows in my mind right now, and again, more computer analogies and metaphors. First of all, what I'm seeing today, again, I'm seeing all these different things open in different windows, and I'm feeling frustrated with the limitations of the human mind, and I'm really focusing on trying to expand the potential to see and feel and experience multiple situations, multiple circumstances at the same time. And as I said, last week I felt like I was cycling down. I've reevaluated that, or had some thoughts or situations occur over the weekend that's allowed me to redefine that. And I don't think I was necessarily cycling down, because I tapped into that state of mind and that power over the weekend, and it was almost effortless. It was like it was there. I just didn't. It was just much more subtle. Whereas a week ago, or over a week ago, however long it was that I was on that upswing and rising to that level of consciousness that I really was moved by, and then reaching that pinnacle, was much like an acid trip, and peaking during that process, and then it kind of leveled off. situations, and made it more difficult to evolve past those and create a more abundant life. So, there was a lot of things that we had to do along the way as far as whittling away the way we reacted to those things, and we're not in a bad spot, but we definitely have we have family coming into town. We've got a party to plan and pay for, and we've got some improvements we're trying to do to the house, and we've got the hail damage now that we're trying to get taken care of with the cars in the house and deductibles associated with that. And again, there's really no negative thought patterns associated with that now. It's there and it's being addressed, but it does take some time. You do have to focus, you have to plan, anticipate, and make sure that those things are covered. And frivolous spending basically is what we're trying to eliminate. So the last few weeks we've kind of cut back. We've been preparing more meals at home, which is good, but we've kind of gotten lazy, or I had, over the past several months, in that I still enjoy cooking very much, but I've wanted to focus more of my thoughts. Again, this comes to the limitations of the human mind and where you can put your focus. Every night that I have to sit here, all right, well, we're going to have this for dinner, and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to make this, and this, and then the actual process of doing that, it takes some time. And I've been focusing on other things. I've been focusing on working out. I've been doing some improvements and upkeep around the house, those kinds of things that are daily tasks and chores that have to be done to be able to maintain a home. And we got into a pattern of just giving in, saying, all right, well, tonight we're going out to eat. I don't feel like thinking about what to make. I don't feel like putting the time in to make it. And so we've been taking the easy road and spending more money on that. And the last few weeks we had to kind of tone that back. So we've made more meals at home, and which is great because we've had more leftovers, which means we have more meals for lunch. Whereas if we go out to eat one meal at night, we may end up having to go out for lunch the next day because we don't have something to easily prepare and consume for lunch with our work schedule. So we've been on that cycle, and I've been doing that, but balanced it out with the other things that I enjoy doing and feel like I need to do. Again, my chores and tasks around the house. So and then working out. And I talked a little bit about that, how last week that I've gotten more comfortable in the balance that I have gained in doing those things, and kind of broke that out into a context of how much time is committed to my work day in order to earn the salary that I have, and how much time is committed towards sleeping, and how much time is committed towards all the other things that I do in a day, and then realistically how many hours in a day that leaves behind to do the other things. And I've been pretty comfortable the last couple of weeks with the balance that I have reached in doing that, so it's all good. That's a rapid stop. So getting into this weekend, there was a certain amount of financial relief because we had a little bit more money to play around with getting into this pay period, as far as going out to eat or spending on whatever. We are going to need to start stockpiling things in the freezer for when family's here, and the food items that are going to be needed to put together this party and all that. So it was kind of an exciting feeling to have a little bit more freedom and leeway. Not that we were really affected by cutting back. It was more of a mental thing than it was anything. And but it was good. It was a good last couple of weeks. Again, good to motivation or inspiration to do anything in particular. I felt no edgy, I need to do something, and I just really took the day as I could, and it was truly a day of just living in the moment and following wherever my mind took me, and it was completely liberating. And I think I completed or accomplished more yesterday in doing that, and I had more appreciation of what I was doing than I had on any other previous Sunday. And it was during that process that I really became aware that I hadn't cycled down out of that in-tune, powerful connection that I was experiencing. It's still there, it's just not as prominent because I've got used to it. So fantastic day, and I got to get my tools out and spun another wand, which I was excited about, and I got to use a wood that I've never used before. I think that's one of the things that I'm most excited about in doing this is getting to experiment with some of these exotic hardwoods that are absolutely beautiful and have such unique characteristics, both in appearance and the energies that they possess. And so it was great, and it really hit me when I was making the one that I did on Sunday, that I have usually a few ideas of designs or whatever in mind when I start when I put a block of wood on the lathe and start spinning, and but it really struck me that it's an art, and it's no different than a sculptor starting to chisel away at a block of granite to create a masterpiece. There's really, the wood itself kind of tells you where to go. So and it's held true on this would be the fourth one that I've made. It's happened every time that I just throw a block of wood on there, and again I have a few ideas of things I may like to try, and I just start, and once I start rounding it out, just to get it smooth and uniformly circular, patterns start to emerge in the wood and in my mind, and it just kind of goes on its own. And this was really apparent this time, because the wood split, and at where the drive center was, and split off to where I was like, I didn't even think I was going to be able to continue to turn it, because there was only half a block of wood there, so I only had 2 teeth stuck in it. I wasn't sure it was going to hold, and I hadn't even finished rough gouging it, so it had a lot of resistance on it, and I figured it was probably going to break. But I had originally laid it out to do it handle to tip from left to right, and it broke on that other end, so I'm like, I'm going to start here, and if I have to make a smaller one out of this, then I'll make a smaller one, and I'm going to try and turn it anyway. And it's a design and it's a pattern that I'd never thought of before, and it just kind of came out, and it ended up fitting in with the way that the wood had split and broke, and what was naturally occurring in the wood. And it really struck me that one of the beauties of the wood is, in the intricacies, is that it's got natural flaws in it. It's got natural soft spots, natural hard spots, and there's going to be times where it's going to break, split, splinter, any of those, and that's what adds to the unique quality of each one. And I really let go on my feeling like I need to control or manipulate the outcome when I'm making these, but it's also very symbolic of life, of letting go of some of my control issues and control patterns, and it's definitely freed up my mind a little bit, but it's also freed up my art. So, and I would consider this an art. It's so as I made them, the first couple, and I'm like, all right, well, making them because they weren't perfect. It wasn't perfectly machined the way it should be, but then that's the way it should be. I mean, that's exactly what it should be. It should be flawed. There should be chips and nicks and dings, and there should be tool marks, and there should be that's what makes each one of them unique and beautiful. And I've always said that as far back as I can remember, the beauty's in the details, but sometimes it really strikes me how strong that statement is and how easy it is to overlook the details. Even when you're paying attention to the details, there are details that you will miss. And again, it's the limitations of the human mind. There's only so much you can absorb, only so much you can be aware of in your scope and how focused your scope is. And you can play around with that and try to work on it, but there's just always going to be that limitation. And this whole process is teaching me just as much about myself as it is anything. So I completed it, and I was really, really impressed with it. And there's a certain power in those, whether you believe in magic or not, or intend to use a magic wand for mystical purposes, or you're bought one for a novelty or the idea behind what it represents. When I placed all three or all four of the ones that I've made so far side by side on the workbench and looked at them, I really saw something amazing and really felt something powerful in that, and it just excited me even more to continue to create those. And one of the things that I've tried to keep in mind, and one of the things that's been on my mind during this whole process was my workshop. And there's actually an audio recording. It's one of the first ones that I made when I decided that I was going to start going this route and posting recordings on YouTube, but I hadn't decided to go the video route yet. Was still doing the voice recording route, and I did 3 or 4 of them, and I created a video for each of them that was basically a still frame photo to play while the video was playing. And we're almost to my destination here, so I need to figure out 35, 39. It's down the street. I think it's this blue one with the overgrown yard. And it is. So I lost track of my focus, but my workshop. So I've been very happy with what I've set up in our garage, because right now it's a combination workspace and workout space, and it really hit me, especially when I was making this wand on Sunday, and some of the intense workouts I've had recently in that same space, that it's a creation area. Rhonda and I both use it for working out, and we're trying to create healthier bodies in exercising. And for me, it's also about pushing some of my limits and testing my strengths and increasing my strength, and both mentally, physically, spiritually, all in that same area. And then I'm now in that same area using my abilities to create something that could in turn help somebody else find inspiration in life. And as I'm doing that, the wand is a symbol of focus. It's a symbol of power. It's a symbol of will, of creativity, imagination. And by doing those things in that same space, I mean, everything, and it really this hit me this weekend. Again, cycling back into another thought process, whereas I've been focusing in on creativity and imagination and things like that the last several weeks, several months. I forgot about, or lost sight of, or didn't have as much focus on is energy, and that everything is energy, and by doing those things, I'm creating an energy in that environment. I'm creating in that garage an energy that's beneficial to me every time I go in there. Every time I go in there and do something, I contribute to that energy, and that next time I go in there, that energy helps keep me focused and keeps me aligned, and gives me a boost where I'm going, and it's a perpetuating cycle that feeds off of each other. But from a positive standpoint, because I talk about it a lot in negative aspects, how easy it is to create negative self-fulfilling prophecies, where you fear something and then that fear is realized and then creates more fear, and boom, 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 you in on this downhill slide. This is the exact opposite, but it's on the uphill motion. And when I'm spinning a wand in there and I'm using that creativity, there's a certain energy that's created in there, and that permeates the room. I mean, it's there, it stays, it leaves its mark. And with Rhonda working out in there, and myself working out in there, and again, I've been really pushing myself on some of these workouts. I did yesterday again, on my cardio. I was able to, I went the same amount of time that I've always gone, but I increased the distance that I went, and I increased the resistance, and I increased the overall impact, everything. It was just, and I hit a level that I had never reached before, and in pushing those limits, I improve myself, but I also improve the environment around us. And then that I pick up on that, and when I'm putting myself into these wands as I'm spinning them, the energy that's in the room is also being kind of cycled through these wands. So as looking at them, and I was absolutely just blown away by the beauty of them. One, I love the way that they've been created, especially the fact that I've not started out with any kind of official pattern. I'm going to make this one look like this. This is going to be, oak, and it's going to be this long, and it's going to be this size, and it's going to have this kind of detail to it, and just putting it on there and letting it turn out to whatever it is. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I ever want to get rid of any of these. I think I just want to keep these. And but it's exciting to me, and that's what we all need. We need to create. We need to do things that give us pleasure and can possibly have an impact on somebody else's. Somewhere down the line, I could, and I do intend to sell these at some point, but I think one of the most exciting things about it is the potential impact that this could have on somebody else from a perspective of helping somebody reach new heights, new goals, new thoughts, new ideas, any of that. So I'm going to wrap this up so I can take care of what I need to take care of here. But so I got through all that, did everything I wanted to do yesterday, did, just like I said, just a very much a living in the moment. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, without giving too much thought about what time remained in the day, and how much time I had to complete other things, and what I was going to do. Made dinner last night, which was great. Just everything was good, and I was really trying not to allow that feeling of dread have any kind of effect on it for going back to work, because I really was enjoying the weekend, and I knew that I'd come Monday morning, it's back to a structured, have to be up at this time, have to be at work by this time, have to have all these things done by this time, and then try and do things that I enjoy in the free time that I have after that. And there was a few things that were lingering from last week that I knew I was going to have to address this week. I've got a couple people that have disputed their deposits, which I'm going to have to respond to. And again, it's an issue of people just not understanding what they're involved in, and then you have to explain it to them. So never looking forward to answering deposit disputes, but we also had a couple other circumstances that were going on, plus we've been overloaded with all these roof claims. So I knew it was going to be a busy day getting in there, but I tried not to let it affect me, and for the most part I didn't. But I did get an email right at the end of the day from a tenant that moved in on Friday, and I knew this jackass was going to be a problem from the get-go. I was tempted to just deny him on his application just because just you can intuit. I mean, there's characteristics of people you just know, all right, this guy's a fucking asshole. Do we want to deal with this? Because, we have enough headaches dealing with ignorance on a daily basis. Do I really want to allow this one to have the ability to affect my day and my life? And but there was no legitimate reason to decline him, so we put him in there, and sure enough, he was a fucking dipshit, douchebag piece of shit, and fucking pissing and moaning about the cleanliness of his home, which was just cleaned. It wasn't that bad before when the tenant moved out, and we just had it professionally cleaned, and he was, again, it happens. Cleanliness is a subjective term, and everybody has an idea of what they think it means, and we have more people, I'd say more people. We have quite a few people that take possession of a rental property and expect everything to be brand new, which is just an unrealistic expectation. Either way, the emails came through last night, and I get them on my phone, so I saw them. I didn't read them. I knew pretty much probably what they were going to say, but I was just letting it go. I'm not going to look at it till Monday, but another email came through right before bed that had some information in it that I really wanted to see, because it was something that I was expecting. And when I opened that, I was able to see a brief glimpse of the other ones, which indicated that he was unhappy, which then confirmed the fact, at least I was deluding myself enough beforehand to say, all right, well, maybe he's not complaining, maybe he's happy with it, and I'll go ahead and go to bed on a Sunday night and roll with that possibility in mind, that maybe he was happy with it, even though I know it's not likely. But no, sure enough, he was throwing a fucking childlike temper tantrum, and anyway, fuck him. So, but I tried not to let it bother me, because I knew that I had done everything right. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I tried to get the property ready in the time frame that I had. I was pushing the owner to get things done that needed to be done, and it took a long time. They were hesitant to make a decision on work. Fine, so be it. He was adamant that he had to be in by a certain date, which didn't really fit in with getting the work done. But I recorded. I was recording when all this stuff was happening, and we got everything done and got able to get him in there on Friday to take possession of the property, and we got it all done. And I had somebody in there. I knew it needed to be cleaned. I got somebody in there to clean it. I went there and I knew that it wasn't clean to the standard that we wanted, and the company that did it knew also. But either way, there's always that I have to second guess myself. I have to doubt myself, and it's just part of my work ethic. It's part of my code of honor and ethics, that anytime a finger is pointed in my direction with some kind of allegations or implications of wrongdoing or inadequacy, I have to reassess everything to make sure that I did everything right, because it's easy to delude yourself. It's easy to allow yourself to think that you did everything right in your perception and your perspective, but sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes you think you did everything right. You make that stance. Sometimes you know you didn't do everything right, but you still take that stance and try to tell yourself that you did. And for me, I have to take every one of those seriously. It's part of who I am. It's part of my makeup. So it causes me stress. It causes me anxiety. It causes me anger, frustration, and at some points rage. So I had to sit there and I tried to do it in one of those windows that was open in the back of my mind, so it wasn't so much in my focus that I was not going to be able to go to sleep, because in the past, situations like that would have kept me up all night, and I would have come to work tired and crabby and ready to fight. and not just verbally but physically. So, and I had to remind myself I did do everything that I could. I did follow all of our protocols. I did go do the things I needed to do, and as angry as I was at this fucking dipshit and wanted to tell him to go fuck himself, I needed to basically handle it in a very politically correct way and just resolve the situation, and that's what it comes down to. Problem solving, dispute resolutions, and it's, to me, it seems like it takes a lot of effort for nothing, because I really don't get anything out of it other than the possibility of diffusing a situation, and sometimes you don't even get that done. So I had to tell myself over and over and over and over again as I was trying to get myself ready for bed and relax myself enough to be able to get some sleep that I would deal with it in the morning, and as much as I wanted to, and I literally was laying in bed, and you know, I have anger issues, I have rage problems, and you know, I sometimes want to react in a very, very rapid and harsh manner that just beats people down. So I mean, my initial, when I was laying there in bed, I really wanted to take my new 9mm handgun over to his house and just start shooting holes in the front of it. And I was it gave me a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of pleasure, a little bit of relief to sit there and think about it. Of course, I wouldn't do anything like that, but that's where my mind went. And then, of course, I started feeling guilty about thinking about that, and I'm like, no, you know what, sometimes it's better to just let that kind of stuff roll through, cycle some of that negativity out of your mind, vent it in a certain sense without actually going through and doing something that's illegal, and getting yourself into trouble. But immediately that's where my mind went, and that to me, that was a good resolution to the problem, as a certain part of me anyway. But that kind of cycled through, went away, and I was able to reach a certain amount of peace, but it still lingered. I had a little bit of that still lingering when I went to sleep and through my nighttime hours, but anyway, I got into the office this morning, and it was I blew it off, answered every other email that I could before I got to that one, and then I finally took care of it, and I felt a certain amount of relief having done it, but it was a struggle. But so here I am. It's a little after 11. I'm outside of 3539 Horizon Lake, and I need to do this move out, and I have 5 more move outs to do for the next day or two or whatever, and I need to get this going, and we'll see how the day goes. But all in all, I feel good. So, good news. Happy Monday.